Not far from the very centre of Prague is the convent of St. Agnes of Bohemia, which dates back to the 1200s. As part of the National Gallery, it offers over 200 paintings and sculptures from 3 different centuries. The collection of old masters includes many paintings, carvings and sculptures done by various artists and painters between the 16th and 18th centuries. In particular, there are artworks created during the Baroque and the Renaissance periods in art history, but also other works from as far back as the 14th century. The convent of St. Agnes, founded by St. Agnes of Bohemia, sister of King Wenceslas, around 1230, is one of the oldest in Europe. It is the only Czech-originated religious order. St. Agnes was beatified in 1870 and canonized in 1989. The convent consists of 2 buildings, the Convent of the Order of Poor Ladies and the Monastery of Franciscans. The first is the oldest brick building remaining in Prague. It has a Gothic window, which is the oldest in Central Europe. The hall has been restored and concerts are now held here. St. Salvador Church, built around 1280, is the earliest example of French Gothic style in the country. The entrance has a triumphal arch decorated with statues of kings. King Wenceslas I was buried here in 1253. During the Hussite Wars in the 15th century, the nuns had to leave the convent and the buildings deteriorated until finally the convent was abolished by Emperor Joseph II in the 18th century and became derelict in following years. The complex was used for storage. There were workrooms and homes for the poor citizens of Prague, and several buildings were demolished. Finally, St. Agnes Convent was restored in the 20th century. The oldest artworks date from the rule of St. Agnes. The best works date from the Luxembourg rule of King John of Bohemia and his successor, Emperor Charles IV. It can be difficult to distinguish between Byzantine, Carolingian, Ottonian and Romanesque sculpture. Gothic sculpture, on the other hand, stands clearly apart, thanks to a striking new degree of physical realism. Indeed, Gothic art embodies the transition from medieval stylization to the fully developed realism of the Renaissance. The Gothic age witnessed the return of statues as the principal sculptural type, but independent freestanding statues would not be revived until the Renaissance. Indeed, as freestanding statues had been worshipped by the pagan Greeks and Romans, they were firmly discouraged by the medieval church. How fortunate today, not only to have historic and beautiful works of art such as these, but to have them presented in appropriate surroundings such as they may have originally been created for. Another treasure trove in Prague.